Alrighty, well, it looks like Bill Corbett is with us now.
Oh, good.
He's smiling.
Apparently so. Hello.
Hello, Bill.
Hi, Desert Bus people. How are you?
Great.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Are you delirious and sleep deprived?
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
caffeinated.
Nice.
So, but that's normal. It's all good.
Yeah. It's really great what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you.
For the
How
less hardy of us, we salute you.
how are you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Hope we're.
I am not alone here. Just 1 second. Rudy, come here.
It's a cat.
We hate surprises.
Ta-da!
Surprises.
He
Oh,
has no idea he's on the internet right now, but there you go. Okay, well done, Rudy. Whoop. Anyway,
that is a great dog.
he is a great dog. He's a little jumpy, but we're getting him over that. He's about 2 years old now, and he's a rescue dog, and he is a weird combination of breeds. He's half Chihuahua, which made my daughter just delighted because she wanted a Chihuahua. 1/4 Dachshund and 1/4 Golden Lab,
Wow.
which I didn't believe at first. I thought, like, technically, how do they make that happen? But the vet said, yeah, that can happen if everybody cooperates. So there you go.
That is a complicated family tree.
Yes, indeed. My daughter calls him a Chidoxador, which actually scans if you work it out.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for calling in, and we've been asking our viewers and people in the chat and so forth to give us some questions to
Sure.
to ask you, and so allow me to pass some of those on to you.
Sure.
Which is so starting with one that we've been trying to ask everybody who phones in and different people. We've been looking at what is your funniest or oddest family tradition?
Funniest or oddest family tradition? Okay. We have a sort of family vacation / reunion once a year. We all rent a cabin together, and at some point when my older nieces and nephews were young, we started this weird game where we would all sit around a big circle in the cabin and try to keep a big beach ball up in the air. And now everybody is like way too old to like use the excuse that this is for the kids, but we keep doing it. And we even have a name for it called gap ball. And I don't know how that evolved, but it's like, don't let the ball fall in the gaps. And some of us are, surprisingly competitive about it. Not me, mind you.
Nice. Gap ball. I like
it.
that.
I would have liked something a little more sexy, like animal sacrifice, but that's all you get with my family. Sorry.
The dog just runs out of the room.
Yeah, the dog is what?
There's a couple of questions about the live riffing that you guys have been doing, which is pretty neat. Unfortunately, I don't think we have been able to get it here in Victoria. We're kind of a small location that we don't actually get it to see it live.
Where are you guys actually?
Victoria, BC, in Canada.
BC, yeah. This last show was not in Canada, unfortunately, and it's sort of up to our partners up there to either do it or not. But I was really psyched when we got into Canada, and I thought that would grow. But the last show just wasn't there at all. So bummer.
Yeah. But some people are so the one question is they say you've been doing a lot of sort of bigger movies. Or sort of more, I guess, Hollywood, sort of Anaconda, Starship Troopers, et cetera, saying, is that a sort of a trend? Or will there be more sort of, I guess, classic movies?
Well, we like to mix up. I personally like to mix it up so it's not just one flavor of humor for us all the time. Because there's a certain gear I think we go into when it's a big honkin', Hollywood movie like Anaconda, or even more so Godzilla. We did the Matthew Broderick Godzilla this summer, and it has a lot to do with just the way it feels, and the we don't mind in some ways taking bigger pot shots at bigger movies, but when we have those little weirder movies, I guess what you're calling the classic movies, which I sort of prefer, just for my own taste. Part of it is finding jokes, but part of it is almost like curating the thing. It's like, look at this weird thing we found. Share it with us, won't you?
Are you ever tempted to just sort of stand back and just play 20 minutes of the movie just because it's so incredibly bizarre?
Oh, boy, yeah. Here and there, I have felt like, boy, this doesn't need us. We did Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
Ah, nice.
And the one thing I would tell people is watch it first, because it is hilarious without us. I mean, I hope we can add a little humor by our commentary, but that is one that stands on its own as an anthropological study of something. I don't know what.
Nice. And there's also a question here saying, what movies would you, or is there a movie that you would love to do live, but will never be able to do, I guess, either for rights reasons or for just practicality?
Yeah. Well, I really wanted to take down Schindler's List. I think it's time.
It's had it coming.
People have asked us at times, are there any movies you just would never ever do? And that is certainly one of them. That and Hotel Rwanda is we would come off as monsters trying to make jokes on that material. There's one that I've always wanted to do, and it's very personal to me. It's a movie from the 1970s called Billy Jack.
Oh, I remember that.
And I don't think it's aged either really well, or that many people even know about it anymore. But it was around when I was a kid, and I loved it. And it's just this the oddest premise, which is this half-breed Indian guy who is sort of a karate expert, but he's protecting this school full of hippies, and it had everything from that 60s and 70s period with bikers and corrupt, evil, local sheriffs and stuff like that, and a lot of karate, which I mostly liked as a kid. And I looked at it after a couple of decades recently, and was like, oh my God, this thing is ridiculous. I can't believe I loved it so much as a kid. So it made me want to riff it, to lash out. But I don't think we could get it. It's one of those ones where even if we did get the rights, I'm not sure enough people would know about or care about it enough to show up. But one never knows.
There's a few people in our chat that seem pretty excited about Billy Jack. So who knows?
We're out there. The cult of Billy Jack is still alive, but there aren't many of us.
Let me just see here. So we're playing this game, Desert Bus, which I don't know if you know too much about it, but it is a
mostly from doing this every year.
Yeah,
it's pretty fascinating.
But there's a question there, what would you consider to be the cinematic equivalent of Desert Bus? Just long, doesn't go anywhere, but you still sort of have to pay attention.
That is a great question. Well, it may be counterintuitive, but to me, any one of the Transformers movies kind of come that way. And again, this is a little personal since we did do riffs for them, and I want to lash out in anger at them. it does seem like just kind of a glop of CGI dumbness after a while, and I just stopped paying attention. But I'm sure there are more, purely classically boring movies that aren't coming to mind.
Nice. There's a few people asking advice for someone who wanted to get into puppeteering. From when you were doing, I don't know if you still do too much of that, but when you were on Mystery Science Theater.
I don't do any puppeteering in public. It is all private.
Okay.
And, I am not, I could never by any respectable definition be called a puppeteer. I mean, there are people who are masters out there who make amazing things and just work them like magic. And really, what I was a comedian and writer who was hired to work a puppet that was already made and was pretty great. And I learned to use it reasonably well after a while, and it was really, really fun. Like I miss the just the I don't know. It's almost like the acting challenge of animating Crow T Robot. And I'm appalled when I watch my earlier shows and like, oh my God, he just looks like a dead thing. He just looks like he's had a stroke or something. But as I went on, I learned to just coordinate all the movements, and it was really fun. So I guess my advice is be lucky like me, or if you're really dedicated to it, I'm sure there are people who are real masters who are not me who could advise you better.
And by the same token, maybe more insight into being doing a screenwriter, and or I guess you're also a playwright, but getting into that world, what is there? Do you have any advice for somebody?
Well, whenever somebody asks me career advice about any of that stuff, I shrug a little bit because I know there are all kinds of paths to getting into the actual working world of it. But really, it begins with writing the thing and putting one word and one page in front of another and doing it consistently and learning. And that probably it did for me anyway, include a lot of outtakes, a lot of on the job, trying and throwing away a screenplay or two. So that's the long part of it. But the good part is that you can always do that, and you don't have to worry about who you're connected to or not. I guess once you have a play or a screenplay, you find the right channels like agents, producers, but it's always good, in my opinion, to just hang around with people who are doing it, whether it be local theater for playwrights or local filmmakers. Just kind of learn how it's done, because it can get pretty abstract as a writer to just keep writing the words on the page until you connect it with, what it eventually is going to do. So that's my advice, I guess.
Nice. Somebody's asking, have you ever considered doing commentary on video game cutscenes? Because
we did do a little bit of that through IGN and one other site that is not coming up to my head right now. But we did do a little bit of that. It was fun. There may be a little more in our future. It is a little more fragmented. It feels a little more random in some ways, but it was really fun to do something a little outside our usual wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's the video game cutscenes, and it tends to be sort of a little bit more sort of compact, sort of shorter.
Right. And I know there are other people doing that and doing it pretty well too. I've seen some examples of that.
Somebody wants.
You guys are all sitting so quietly and respectfully. Thank you. I do appreciate that. It's pretty rare.
It's hard for us.
Yeah.
I know. I did see your dance right before I came on, so you guys must be ready for a little breather, no?
We are. We just we were so close. We were $1 away from $388,888, and then somebody pushed us way over.
No, that's a good thing. That's a good
So it
thing.
pushed
That's
us
a
over.
good thing.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Well done, you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Wait, I don't actually. Somebody's asking, wants to know all about how the super-powered revenge Christmas came to be. I'm not personally familiar with that, but
that does mean something to me, actually. No, it's that's the title of my new comic book. for lack of a, I mean, I would call it a graphic novel because it's as long as that, but it's pretty silly, so I prefer a comic book. I happen to have a copy right here.
Oh, how exciting.
There it is. I did this with artist Len Peralta, who is known maybe by some of you for his Geek a Week card series. Yeah, I funded this on a Kickstarter a couple of years ago, mostly to pay Len a decent amount of money to climb the mountain of art he was about to be given. And it's a Christmas story, but it's also kind of a retcon superhero style of Christmas. So the idea, silly as it is that the heroes and villains of Christmas pop culture that we know are kind of transformed into superhero comic characters and do battle. So it was really, really fun to write and made me want to write more comic books.
Oh, wow. One of our people actually in the room here is the current Geek of the Week. So yay!
Oh, really?
That's a great
Small
series.
worlds.
So we will let you go and not take too much more of your time, but just one more question, being the most important question, which is, what is your favorite Joe Don Baker movie?
I have to go with Mitchell. Much as I loved Final Justice, I think it was called, where he was playing the sort of, crazy Texas sheriff set loose in Malta. There was something about Mitchell because that was my first prolonged exposure to Joe Don Baker. And it's an alarming presence, that man.
That is a that is goes down as one of my favorite Mystery Science Theater episodes as well. You guys did a wonderful job on that one.
It's always weird when you see Joe Don Baker pop up in something else. Like, he's in a couple of James Bond movies. It's like, wow, he actually was kind of respected in Hollywood, or at least worked. I don't know about respected.
All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in.
My pleasure, guys. Congratulations, and keep up the great work. It's really amazing what you guys are doing. So, bravo.
Thank you. And one more thing, I am informed we need to, apparently it's very important that we ask you for a recipe. We're trying to collect as many recipes as we can.
Oh, man, you caught me off guard. I'm terrible at this. Eggs, fried eggs, put it in a pan, apply heat, try to get it out before it turns black.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Do you have any recommendations if you fail to get it out before it goes black?
Throw out the pan, throw out everything, throw out your stove, replace everything.
Get a new stove.
Start a new life, move away.
Well, it's eggs are a very serious matter, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's not messing around.
All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in. And,
all right, my pleasure, guys. Take
all
care.
Right. We will maybe talk to you again next year. We'll see how it works out.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye, Bill.
Bye. There we go. The great Bill Corbett.